All right, so this is our Mindset Mondays for 3 6 2023, And we discuss mental and skill development tips and techniques so that we can improve in the market and you can get to the next level. And so we do this every Monday during low volume time frames and midday so that we can use our time effectively to give you what you need to improve. Today's topic is one that is much needed. And this is something that many traders over the years have asked me. I've heard it a lot. And I think it will be worth discussing and giving you some tricks and tips and some things that will help you. The topic: an isolated trader is a static trader. Has this ever happened to you? Have you maybe taken some losses or had a rough go of things? And you say this to yourself: man, maybe I need to take some time off from trading. Has that ever happened to you? And you can definitely give me some feedback inside of the private channel if you're listening to this live. But maybe I need to take some time off. Or you say, I'm going to take some time off. Has that ever happened to you? And then the next thing you know, you just you stop trading for a month, a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, 6 months. And then what is worse, when you do come back to trading, you may feel, all right, I'm I've gotten over my last loss, or I've gotten over whatever the pain was, only to find out that you feel rusty and that you are faced with the same behavior and loss patterns again. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah. It's happened to just about any trader that says those cardinal words, I'm going to take some time off from trading or stop trading, what have you. Now, our theme again is an isolated trader is a static trader. What does that mean? Well, just as it sounds there, when we isolate ourselves by ourselves in this huge world of day trading, we become static, or we lack the movement, the progress that we need to move forward, right? Now, it's a common thread when people aren't necessarily growing, or when they're hitting barriers, or they're hitting walls and challenges. It's a common thread for new traders to feel like they should isolate themselves, right? Most of this involves a little voice in their head telling them, or someone else telling them, you should probably rethink this thing. Or maybe I need to take a step back and rethink it and try to figure out a different strategy. Or maybe I need to take a step back and just not see the charts. Maybe that's it. And that little voice in your head convinces you that isolating yourself, removing yourself from the charts and a community and all the things that you've been feeding yourself every day to improve, is the best thing for you, right? And I'm telling you, one of the worst things that a trader could do, one of the worst things they could do, is to isolate themselves and to stop trading. Now, this in no way is a ploy, or some kind of convincing discussion for you to join the killer whales or the wealth whales. You don't have to be inside of our community at all. But I'm going to tell you something that many people in many different communities and discords may not tell you, because they want you to be in their community. I'm going to tell you, you need community. And this community may not work the best for all traders. We get that, right? Some traders need something different. Our community is more, we have a good time, but we're more discipline focused. Some traders love YOLO. Some traders love, chance plays. And some traders like to come into a Discord and talk about social media and garbage and use different, profanity and distracting things all day. That's not what this is. Other traders may want a different type of environment. Whatever the case is, there's something out there for everyone. And in many, not all, but in many of those environments, you can be successful if you have the proper setup, right? You have the proper strategy. But a lot of people, when they're trying to get better and they hit walls, instead of pushing through the wall, a lot of times they want to take a step back and isolate themselves. All right. But let me help you with something. When you isolate yourself, you remove yourself from the interactions you need with other traders. These new sparks or fresh interactions can be a catalyst for change. It can be a catalyst to get you to doing better. Perhaps you thought you knew something and someone said something in a Discord, in a community, and it was more than just look at this lagging indicator. And that's not what we're talking about. Hey, when I check the indicator here and it makes this cross and the RSI goes hot, that's what I get. We're not talking about false information like that. We're talking about real, tangible information and systems and a strategy that works where you've gotten it from someone inside of a community. And now that fresh perspective has sparked new life into you. So, one of the things that you can do instead of trying to isolate yourself is you can look for fresh perspectives inside of the community. You can look for fresh views or someone that's kind of using the system, what have you, that falls in line with your trading style, but has a nice approach to it and an understanding of it. Right? That's one thing you can do. But these, a lot of times, without these new perspectives, without these new interactions, these fresh new views, it's very easy to just to stay rooted or to stay, situated in your old ways. To get into this pity party to say, you know what, it's not working for me. Well, that's the problem because when you say it's not working for me, you think you're alone. But the reality is, especially with the advent of social media, there is a massive audience out here, a massive group out here of people who actually want to do better. Now, granted, a good majority may be dilatory in their approach, but there are some people inside of the wealth whales as well that actually want to be elite traders, right? And you'll never get there unless you are able to interact with these fresh perspectives. So just remember this when you're thinking about maybe I need to stop, maybe I need to take some time off. Remember, everything that we do, every time we interact with someone, it's like you're looking at a mirror, right? Each time you get new information, each time you get new interactions, when it comes to day trading, it's like you're looking at a mirror. And that mirror will show you a lot about yourself. For example, have you ever seen someone in the Discord take the exact same trade that you took? And you are so happy that you weren't the only one who saw the trade and you took it like, oh man, I must be getting better. Has that ever happened to you? Or have you been in a trade at the same time where KD's in a trade and you're like, man, I knew he was going to take that trade? Or better yet, have you checked your levels? And you're like, man, my levels really agree with these levels. My goodness. And others. Or have you been getting good at reading the tape? And now when you hear KD, when you hear others reading the tape, you're like, wow, I'm finally getting this. Has that ever happened to you? Now, why did this new reinvigorated rush come upon you? Is it because you figured it out by yourself? No. It's because, yes, you put the work in, but the fresh perspective, the mirror, all those other individuals who are also utilizing the same tools, their growth is also feeding your growth. Their growth is making you want to be better and forcing you to be better. I say this all the time. A wise gentleman told me many years ago, if you want to be better, you want to do better, you want to have more, do more, be more. Guess what? There's 3 words that absolutely need to govern how you approach things. 3 words are absolutely change your financial outlook. And those 3 words are raise your standards. So if you want to be better, the idea here is not to remove yourself from community or a helpful resource. It's to be engaged and tweak it because the fresh perspectives and the resources that we tap into, these human resources, these communities, they are mirrors. Now, sometimes you can go into a community and quite frankly, it's just trash. That's not the mirror you need to be in. So many times I get private messages or I get DMs from people saying, man, I have tried 10 different Discords. I've been in this place and that place and that place and that place. It's a common theme. And then they say, but KD, man, I came to this Discord and wow, this is the first time I have consistent trading. I'm getting consistent green days. And you can see the evidence in the testimonials. Why? Because the community that you're in can be a mirror and show you things about yourself, right? And so that's a way that we experience ourselves. That's a way that we evaluate ourselves, right? It's the same thing if a person was in any type of relationship, right? You think you're the bee's knees, aren't you? You think you're just awesome. Now, for you young heads, the bee's knees is an old phrase, right? What it means, you think you the bomb. Well, that's an old phrase too. I don't have anything newer than that, all right? But the idea is you think that you are all that, right? Until you get into a relationship and the relationship exposes your flaws. Now, anybody who's married knows how that works out, right? You think you're all that, right? You smell like roses, but no, you've got some flaws too. Well, how did you come to the realization? Was it just isolating yourself? No, it was because you were in a relationship, this other person, the relationship, this environment, this community, it now serves as a mirror. It gives you the way to evaluate yourself. You can no longer distort your problems, your faults, and make them out to be minute or small. No, because they keep presenting themselves over and over. That's the same thing when it happens when we're inside of a community. All right. So the reality is, the more mirrors that we have, the better it is for us. So this means that when it comes to a community, if we're saying that a proper trading environment, a proper trading network and community can be like a mirror to help you understand some things about yourself, the more people that are in that community who are actually good traders, who actually understand how to trade with feedback, who are going through the same things, but yet they're making progress, the better. Because you're going to be able to pull little tips from each person and see yourself in each person, right? Why is this so important? Well, the reality is, you know, trading is extremely lonely. It's a very solitary and isolating experience, right? You're there in front of the charts all day. Even professional traders don't think that it gets any better for them. They're there dialed into their screens. They're dialed into their terminals all day. And the reality is, most of that time is spent reviewing markets, looking up different ideas here or stocks to trade for some traders. Maybe they're reviewing levels and performance, watching volume every 5 minutes. Let's take a look around the market. They're looking and looking in their screen time. In some respects, especially for retail traders, for you and I, the time that we spend in front of the computer, in front of the screen, it can even outweigh the time you spend with others, even the people that you love. Has that ever happened to you? Have you wanted this so bad that you've noticed you spend too much time in front of the screen and not enough time with the people that you love? Well, that is part of the dangers of isolating yourself too, right? So there's a balance that needs to happen there. And so the beautiful thing is, we have nowadays, right? We've got, social media and the internet. Never before has there been a bigger influx and burst in trading in the market and interest in the market since the advent of Robinhood and other like apps and social media. Never before. Now you have access. You can hear recordings like this. You can hear live information like this. You can trade live with people like myself and other great traders. You can gain information. Never before has this been there. But the problem is, which is what makes this Discord very different. Now, listen to what I'm going to tell you. The problem is, most of those interactions are very brief and they're not effective mirrors, or they're not an effective reflection of what you need. Most of the time, when people jump into different communities, because the community may not be that good, it's very brief. It's very brief. They don't get the information that they need. It's not really helpful. The interaction is too short. It's not enough time. Which is why, if you notice in our Discord, we talk, we have a good time, but there's not a whole lot of chatter during the market that doesn't pertain to the market, right? And we very respectfully push people to different rooms or different channels to get the answers, because we want to make sure that we're on task, right? So that the interaction, the actual mirror, your ability to see yourself and to improve is clear and it doesn't get washed out. Because we understand that without those interactions in the Discord with myself and others, well, you're going to lack the ability, the mirror that you need to reflect, to see what you've got to work on and to feel the change, right? And so each time that we want to change in anything in life, but specifically the market, it involves a fresh perspective. You cannot change without a fresh perspective. A lot of times, and what I mean by that is the catalyst to that is going to be a fresh perspective. A lot of times people want to, do some deep thinking, and they feel like that deep thinking or that contemplation will spark the change, but it rarely does. Deep thinking and contemplation rarely provides the catalyst and action to changing. Oftentimes, it's someone else who says, look, Get off your butt. Stop using those lagging indicators. Do this, this, and this. I'm going to hold you accountable. Has that ever happened to you? Have you sat down with a one-on-one with myself, KD, or somebody else, and I've put you on a trading plan? And I've held you to task, and we check in, and there's different metrics and different things. I've built a trade identity with you. I've shown you how to track your trades. You've used the 90-day day trading journal. And then before you know it, because you have someone holding you accountable, coupled with your own contemplation, now you have someone there. Now you begin to make leaps and bounds of improvement. Has that ever happened? I've seen it happen all the time. Why is that the case? It's because an isolated trader is a static trader. You can't be isolated and expect to grow. So the benefit of these communities, in one way or another, ultimately gets a person to where they need to be. It gets you to where you need to be. And so this discussion is to help you if you're struggling in day trading, which you absolutely will at some point. I have done it. You have. Everybody will at some point. The tendency will be to pull away from a community and to go into a bubble. I'm telling you not to do it. Whether you are in a free community, whether you're in a paid community, whether you're in a voice live video streaming community, or whether it's a text chat community, if the community has served beneficial information and has benefited you, you need to stick to it and don't remove yourself from trading. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is just that. A lot of times traders want to remove themselves from the practice of day trading every day. Now, the reason you feel that way is because early on, you don't understand the big picture. You don't really understand what you're trying to do. And what you're trying to do is to become a consistently profitable trader. You hear that term and phrase a lot. The reality is you want to be consistent. That's what you're trying to do. Now, before you become consistently profitable, you have to consistently execute. That's the goal. So before you become consistently profitable, you've got to learn how to properly execute trades every single day effectively to the tune of a high win percentage. In order to do that, folks, you've got to get your reps in. You simply have to trade. After and while you've got training, after you've gotten training, while you're going through a continuous educational program, be it a live Discord like this, be it some type of audio video training that we also offer, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be here. But while you're getting that, you also have to be in an environment where you are actually getting your reps in. You're trading every single day. So here's a tip. If you feel like, man, I need to take a break, it's likely because you have attached money to your success. It's likely you've attached money to your success. And so what I have advised traders to do, I'm going to advise you the same, is to not remove yourself from a positive day trading community or experience, be it my Discord or not, that's fine. But to paper trade, I would prefer you paper trade the Wealth Wells way, but you can also paper trade in the simulated environment. Now, let's discuss paper trading the Wealth Wells way and why it's superior and why it helps. All right. I teach traders to trade at and in the money positions when you're live trading. It just works out better. I've talked about it and spoke on it ad nauseum. You can read the frequently asked questions in the Discord. You can, go look at my videos and why. I've discussed it in the Greeks video. I've discussed it in the distance-based risk to reward video. I mean, it's all out there. So there's benefits to trading at and in the money. So we're talking about the first 3 or 4 spaces right at the money, and then the first 3 or 4 spaces in the money. That's at and in the money. Right? It's got a beautiful delta, theta, gamma combo. I love it, right? It works out really well. You couple that with the VVP system, and boy, oh boy, it's a winning setup. Now, to paper trade, this is one of the times where I suggest you trade deep out of the money contracts, cheapos. And the purpose of doing this is not, I restate, is not to make money. You're not even watching the P&L. You are just simply getting a live contract with minimal skin in the game, and all you're doing is you're paying tuition now. Your job is to properly execute set amount of trades throughout the day. So, for example, if you're saying to yourself, you know what, I need to work on my trading, and I need to take some time off. What you really need to want to say is, I'm going to go into training mode and I'm going to trade and practice every single day. I'm not looking to make any money. So you buy deep out the money contracts, and all you care about is entering and exiting at your levels and executing trades properly. That's the only two things you care about. Now, couple that with a trade plan that I put traders on, and it gets you back in full effect almost immediately. You'll be so excited after 2 weeks. You're like, man, I'm ready to go. I'll still tell you to take a month or another month. It's happened to so many traders, right? Where there's some things off, and it's because if you've been through the training, you have the ability to see the market, right? You have the information. Now we've got to work on those other little peripheral items, those other secondary things, and what's between those ears. We got to work on your mindset, right? So the best way to do that, don't take time off, still be plugged in, but paper trade. And you paper trade the Wealth Wells way, meaning in a live environment, you still plug into the system. You have just significantly scaled down. You're not looking to make any money, and you're taking your trades target to target, level to level, and you're using the Wealth Wells 90-day day trading journal. You're using the training, and you're logging this. You're in a trade plan, and that's how you get better. You do not get better saying, you know what, I think I'm going to, there's a surgeon say, I don't want to cut anymore. I don't want to save lives anymore. I need some time off. Well, what happened? Well, we lost a life. We lost someone in the surgery room, and that just messed me up. And so I don't want to cut anymore. Is that how it goes for a surgeon? Death 100% will happen. They understand that. But the lives that they save outweigh those isolated incidents. Therefore, they continue to practice their skill. The same thing is with day traders, all right? When you're in a community and you're not isolated by yourself, the experience of other traders provides a motivation for you. It provides a catalyst for you, right? When someone says, hey, I took this trade from level to level and I've been taking profit at my levels no matter what, that experience can be a catalyst for you to do better, to be better, right? Hearing the success of other traders is energizing. It keeps you rolling, right? So had you been isolated, then that would have never happened. You would never have gotten the information that you need, the catalyst, you could say the spark that you need, right? And so this is just a quick little conversation here, right? Sometimes people can be motivated by the wrong things, right? Now, two of the strongest motivators that we know is fear and love. Now, you could add money in there as a motivator as well. We're going to talk about fear for a second, as it pertains to isolating oneself. A lot of times, what's at the core of isolation is fear. You are afraid of being a failure. You are afraid of losing more money. You are afraid that you will not be successful at this. So you want to pause the activity. You want to push pause on this failing course that you're in instead of just smacking it in the face and plowing through it. That's what's at the bottom. Now, fear is a good motivator. We've seen it in dictatorial regimes and other regimes, and it can motivate people to get to where they need to be, to get to where the controller wants them to be, but it's not the best motivator, is it? Nobody's happy. Fear of losing all of your money, it can be, or fear of hitting rock bottom, blowing up your account and actually blowing it up, it can be a big catalyst for change. But if you do blow up your account and hit rock bottom, well, going broke isn't something that you can rebound from easily either. So when you do go broke, when that does happen, well, your trading career can be can be over well before it even begins. And so I tell traders all the time, you don't have to blow up your account. You don't have to lose all your money. You can actually earn as you learn. What we get from these communities and networking with other individuals and being inside of a proper trading community and not being isolated can be just the change someone needs. It can be just the inspiration. It can be just the thing that they need to really allay and push down the fear that they may have. When you share in other people's wins and their experiences, It builds you up, it helps you move forward, and you learn from them. More importantly, that will spark the optimism and inspiration that you need to drive the change and make it happen. All right. Remember this, it's better to be moved to action through inspiration than desperation. When you're frustrated, when you're angry, when you're, I'm just going to take a break. That's it. That's a desperate mindset. I had one trader one time, a trader came to me privately and said, and traders have asked me to trade for them before, which I'll never do. So, when you see scammers and whatnot, number one, I never DM anyone first. In fact, my private DMs, I don't even accept private DMs. So you have to DM me to the main channel here, but I never DM you. I'll never send you a welcome message. Hey, welcome to my Discord. And I don't do that stuff. All right. Unless you say, hey, KD, I have DM'd you. Check your DM. That's the only time I'm going to check it. But I had one trader who was very zealous, had taken on some risk before they came into the Discord and was down about 300 grand. And in a sense of desperation, in the last hour, they needed to kind of get their money back. And, I'm calling the last month of the year the last hour, but because it wasn't exactly the last hour, but in the last month, they needed to make their money back in that year. I gather they didn't go into minute detail of where they got the money from, but I gathered they borrowed the money. Something was very stressing on them. They borrowed the money, something happened, and now this trader was down 300 grand at the end of the year and they needed it back. So the trader reached out to me and said, hey, KD, please, can I just do a swim with the whale with you? Please, please. Now, when we do swim with the whales, anyone who's ever done them, we take live trades together. You see my screens, we walk through things, and we're going to take some trades. I don't force any trades, but it's a one-on-one session of actual trading and walking through the trades. You're in my personal space when I do that, right? And so obviously that time costs a little bit, and those who have been through it, it has been very helpful for them. So he wanted to do a swim with the whale with me, a personal trading session live during market hours where we trade. And his idea was he's going to get the money back. He wants it back. And he asked me, hey, if I do this every single day, do you think I can make 10%? And he had this whole formula. And I said to him, I can appreciate you wanting to get your money back, but I'm not gonna train you. If I see you sign up for one, I'm gonna deny it. I'm not gonna let you do it because I do not train people who have a sense of desperation. I don't train gamblers, I don't train addicts, and I don't train people who are desperate. Why? Because it's better to move to action through inspiration than desperation. When you're desperate, you make bad decisions. You can't really, get your bearings. And that desperation comes from isolation. A lot of times when you don't have the perspective of skilled, experienced traders, you begin to fill your head with your own thoughts and you start taking risky trades. And so that was a real life experience where I told someone, no, this person would have paid a lot and I can't do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do it. And I told him no. Now, I don't know what happened to that trader. All right. I would have to look in the Discord to see if they're still around. And I hope, that they made their money back and did well. But I cannot help someone who's desperate. You have to get out of your own head. And one way to do that is to be motivated by the sparks of optimism that come from proper communities. So this was just a simple conversation with you guys. I hear a lot of traders talking over the years. I've heard it, and I still hear once or twice say, hey, I'm going to take some time off. That's on you. That's on you. Here's what I would do. Number one, I would get training. Number two, I would get a one-on-one and get into a trade plan. A lot of times people want to take time off because they can't figure out why they are failing at something. And the reality is it's not for you to figure out. If you could figure it all out, if we all could figure it all out, we wouldn't need any help. But the fact is we all need help, right? So maybe that's an opportunity for you to be on a trade plan, sit down with someone else and get into a proper trading setup. Maybe you need to go through a SWOT assessment or a trade identity assessment, and we need to break down who you are. Maybe you need to understand that you have options throughout the day. Maybe you're day trading with a full-time job, and that's a specific setup. Maybe you're day trading with a new family. Maybe you're day trading, and this is your only income, which is a very unique and challenging situation. Or maybe you're day trading after a life change. Maybe you're day trading after a career change. There are so many things that affect a person that you need to sit down with someone and get a strategy. And quite frankly, it needs to happen over and over. Again, Are you in this for the long haul, or are you in this just to do it next week? Well, I would hope that you want to learn skills that's going to take that you can pass on to your kids if you want to, so that they really don't have to worry about finance and things like that. Remember, an isolated trader is a static trader. One of the models that I live by is progress, not perfection. I always want to be moving forward. And my goal and my desire in this Discord, in this chat, is to help you to do the same. This is our Mindset Mondays for 3/6/2023. An isolated trader is a static trader. I hope I've given you some things to think about and that you've learned a few things that you can put in your back pocket and you can understand how to get better as you grow. Let's get back to trading. KD signing out.